Hi, my name's Venus O'Hara and welcome to another video from my unmade bed. Today I'm going to make a video that's got nothing to do with sex toys or orgasms for a change. I'm going to explain 10 products that I don't use as part of my orgasmic lifestyle. I remember last year I met up with a friend that I hadn't seen for a long time, and I was telling him all about my current lifestyle, and I said, no this, no that, no the other, and he said, that's a lot of no's, where are the yeses, where are the positive things? But actually, the no's that I was explaining, in my opinion, were very, very positive, and for me, they are part of an orgasmic lifestyle. Anyway, let me explain them from my list. The first thing that I do not consume or own is a TV. Wow, I think not having a TV is amazing. I've not had a TV now for maybe 12 or 13 years, which is just great. I remember I had a TV the first few years when I lived in Spain, so I think if you're living in a foreign country, having a TV is an excellent way to learn a language, to practice your listening skills. But once I understood everything, there was no point in having a TV anymore. And I just don't like the volume late at night, and a lot in Spain in particular, there were lots of like late night debates and people shouting at each other. It was just not a zen thing to watch before going to bed. And also the adverts were just eternal. I remember sometimes maybe up to 15 minutes or something when I was watching a film, and that's another thing, I can't stand dubbed films. But even if I was living in England, where I like the TV a bit more, I still think not having a TV is a great thing, because you can find yourself just watching anything or just getting lazy, really. And I think it's good to use that time to do other things. And also there is the internet and YouTube, so I can be more selective about the information that I want to consume. Okay, more. Another thing I do not consume, I don't have any credit cards or loans or anything like that, so I am a debt-free zone. I think that being debt-free is amazing. It's such a liberating feeling, and I feel like I'm not part of the matrix. I don't owe any corporations any money, and because I think that's the thing, isn't it? With people, with the system, I think it's get a mortgage and then you're kind of tied to your job then. Whereas for me personally, I just don't owe anything to any corporation. So I think for me it's just a really key part of having an orgasmic lifestyle. Yes. Then another thing I don't consume, I haven't consumed for 3 years. I've not used any deodorant or perfume. Oh my god. Why have I not used deodorant? Well, I think it's because I work from home, and I just think, what's the point, you know? And a few years ago I experimented with growing my armpit hair, and what I have learned is that to keep yourself in a well, you obviously have to have daily showers, and I use coconut oil now, and I think it's really important to be hair free and wear clothes with natural materials to not smell. And of course I'm eating lots of fruits and vegetables and lots of water. So no deodorant. And also I'm not really convinced about the safety of deodorant. I don't think it's a good idea to kind of block the pores, or I think we're supposed to sweat, and yeah, that's it really. And there's nothing wrong with some natural pheromones. And no perfume either. I've really gone off perfume ever since I've become a bit more spiritual and minimalist. I find that the smell of perfume I find it very chemical these days. I don't like it anymore. I used to always wear perfume, and I wore the same perfume for many, many, many years, and then I just stopped, and I don't really miss it now. And it's funny because I have had some lovers who are really into my natural smell, and they're just sniffing my neck, and I'm thinking, I'm not even wearing any perfume. And that's a great thing to be. I think that's great. It's better than sniffing perfume from someone's neck. Anyway, next thing, lubricant. I might make a video about this in more detail, but I don't really use lubricant. I think if you need lubricant, you should use lubricant. But personally, I have so much of my own Venusian nectar that I've never found lubricant to be necessary, and having more lubricant would just be too slippy. I don't know, there'd be no friction, so definitely not into lubricant. So I'm very fortunate in that sense that I have a lot of my own natural lubricant. But I do hope that in the future, when I hit menopause or afterwards, I hope there are more good options of lubricants, because personally I receive a lot of lubricants and I look at their ingredients and they're pretty scary, the ingredients a lot of the time, and I'm just really not convinced. So I hope there is something that's better for my vulva when I might need it in the future. Another thing, animal products. Okay, yeah, I don't eat animal products. My flat is vegan. There are no animal products in my kitchen. I've stopped using leather bags as well. I've got a couple of leather coats still, but I'm not really wearing them lately. I just don't think I just don't feel comfortable wearing them. Even though I don't think it's a bad thing to wear coats that if you've had them before you went vegan. I don't think there's anything wrong with just kind of wearing them until they wear out, but it's just not felt right for me. And I still have leather shoes, but I hope there are more better vegan shoe options coming in the future, because I think it's really important to have shoes that I walk everywhere, so I'll talk about that later. So yeah, animal products. Another thing I don't consume, I don't have a vehicle, I don't have a car or a motorbike or anything. I don't even have a driving license. I've never wanted to drive. I think when in England, when people had their 17th birthday, that was the typical present. So many driving lessons, and I was just not interested. When I was 17, I was more interested in thinking about going to university the following year, and I knew that I was not going to need a car at university. And also, after growing up in England, people driving on the left, and now I'm living in Spain, and people driving on the right, I just feel very confused a lot of the time with the left and right every time I cross the road. So I think me in a car is probably not a good idea. Stick to walking. Yeah, I walk everywhere. I think I walk about 10,000 steps a day. So that's pretty good for my carbon footprint. Another thing I don't consume, I don't have a watch. I've got that watch that I use just to compare sex toys. I have a watch from Geeksme, which is can count your steps and stuff, but I don't really wear a watch. I find it quite annoying to wear a watch normally. In the past I've had issues with eczema, so I've not really worn a watch for that reason really. Also these days with them having a mobile on you, you always know what time it is. And I don't really like the kind of culture of watches. It's like the time is the same whatever watch you wear, even if you don't have a watch. So yeah, I don't really like the status of watches, I think. Yeah, and also, I don't know, definitely not necessary. Another thing I don't use, menstrual products. I've made a couple of videos about free bleeding, which is basically not using menstrual products. And one of my videos, or the first one I made about it, it's not had that many views, maybe, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000. But the comments, oh my God, it's incredible. Some of them are quite supportive, but a lot of them are just so disgusted. They're like, oh my God, that's so disgusting, not using menstrual products. And it's not that disgusting really. I find it's worse to be using products that are full of toxic chemicals that are not going to be good for my health in the long term. And there are a lot of advantages about free bleeding in my experience, so that's quite a controversial topic. If you're interested in that, I'll leave the link in the description below if you're interested in why I don't use menstrual products. I also made a second video called 5 Things That Changed About My Period When I Stopped Using Menstrual Products. I can't remember the actual title, but something like that. And it's quite interesting because it has affected my period in a very positive way. And then, second to last, another thing I don't consume, which is probably the most orgasmic thing of this list, and that has to be not having an alarm. I have a no alarm life. I've been waking up naturally for the last 9 years. It's just so good, and it means that I sleep better. I sleep less hours, but my sleep is deeper, more satisfying, and it's easier for me to fall asleep. I'm not worrying about what I need to do the next day because I don't really have a schedule either. I have a massive to-do list, but not really many deadlines because I'm quite on top of things. And yeah, so not having an alarm is probably one of the most orgasmic things, because I used to hate it in the past, waking up and then snoozing and having a limited amount of time in the morning for breakfast and shower and just being in a rush, whereas now my morning routine is very relaxed, and I think it's a good way to start the day, and it's made a massive difference to my vitality. I remember years ago, when I had an alarm, I used to be so shattered on a Friday afternoon. I used to need a siesta before starting the weekend, whereas now I'm just like, wah, loads and loads of energy. Okay, and then finally, another thing I don't consume is alcohol. I also made a video about this, so if you're interested in why I don't drink alcohol, I'll leave the link to that video below. And this summer is going to be 3 years without alcohol. I remember the first few years, or the first few months, there were times of temptation when I had that Friday feeling and I wanted to have a drink and just let my hair down. Whereas now, if I go out at night and I see all these drunk people, I'm just thinking, oh my God, can't believe I used to do that. So I have no need anymore to get drunk anymore. I just don't feel like I need that to let my hair down. And I find that I can actually go out more when you don't drink, because you don't have a hangover and you can remember your conversations and remember everything you did. So there you have 10 things that I don't consume. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and see you next time.